Hello and welcome to week 4. Last week we explored the difference between stress and anxiety and discussed effective ways to cope and manage anxiety. This week we will focus on stress management. Stress is a natural response to challenges, but when it becomes overwhelming or prolonged, it can negatively impact both mental and physical health. Understanding how stress affects us and learning practical strategies to manage it can improve overall well-being. In today's session, we'll define stress and its effects, identify common stressors, explore evidence-based techniques for stress management, and discuss ways to build resilience. Let's begin by understanding what stress is and how it impacts your daily lives. Stress is the body's response to challenges or demands, triggering physical and emotional reactions. To better understand its effects, we'll watch a TED Ed video on how stress impacts the body. As you watch, consider how stress affects you, and we'll discuss key takeaways afterwards.
Cramming for a test? Trying to get more done than you have time to do? Stress is a feeling we all experience when we are challenged or overwhelmed. But more than just an emotion, stress is a hardwired physical response that travels throughout your entire body. In the short term, stress can be advantageous, but when activated too often or too long, your primitive fight or flight stress response not only changes your brain, but also damages many of the other organs and cells throughout your body. Your adrenal gland releases the stress hormones cortisol, epinephrine, also known as adrenaline, and norepinephrine. As these hormones travel through your bloodstream, they easily reach your blood vessels and heart. Adrenaline causes your heart to beat faster and raises your blood pressure, over time causing hypertension. Cortisol can also cause the endothelium, or inner lining of blood vessels, to not function normally. Scientists now know that this is an early step in triggering the process of atherosclerosis, or cholesterol plaque buildup in your arteries. Together, these changes increase your chances of a heart attack or stroke. When your brain senses stress, it activates your autonomic nervous system. Through this network of nerve connections, your big brain communicates stress to your enteric or intestinal nervous system. Besides causing butterflies in your stomach, this brain-gut connection can disturb the natural rhythmic contractions that move food through your gut, leading to irritable bowel syndrome, and can increase your gut sensitivity to acid, making you more likely to feel heartburn. Via the gut's nervous system, stress can also change the composition and function of your gut bacteria, which may affect your digestive and overall health. Speaking of digestion, does chronic stress affect your waistline? Well, yes. Cortisol can increase your appetite. It tells your body to replenish your energy stores with energy-dense foods and carbs, causing you to crave comfort foods. High levels of cortisol can also cause you to put on those extra calories as visceral or deep belly fat. This type of fat doesn't just make it harder to button your pants. It is an organ that actively releases hormones and immune system chemicals called cytokines that can increase your risk of developing chronic diseases, such as heart disease and insulin resistance. Meanwhile, stress hormones affect immune cells in a variety of ways. Initially, they help prepare to fight invaders and heal after injury, but chronic stress can dampen the function of some immune cells, make you more susceptible to infections, and slow the rate you heal. Want to live a long life? You may have to curb your chronic stress. That's because it has even been associated with shortened telomeres, the shoelace tip ends of chromosomes that measure a cell's age. Telomeres cap chromosomes to allow DNA to get copied every time a cell divides without damaging the cell's genetic code. And they shorten with each cell division. When telomeres become too short, a cell can no longer divide, and it dies. As if all that weren't enough, chronic stress has even more ways it can sabotage your health, including acne, hair loss, sexual dysfunction, headaches, muscle tension, difficulty concentrating, fatigue, and irritability. So, what does all this mean for you? Your life will always be filled with stressful situations, but what matters to your brain and entire body is how you respond to that stress. If you can view those situations as challenges you can control and master, rather than as threats that are insurmountable, you will perform better in the short run and stay healthy in the long run.
After watching the video, think about this. How does stress impact your own life, both mentally and physically? Consider the ways it affects your memory, mood, and overall health. What strategies do you currently use to manage stress? And are there any areas where you can improve? Reflecting on this can help you better understand your relationship with stress and identify areas to focus on for better management. Coping with stress is similar to coping with anxiety, which we covered last week. Both require strategies to help manage our emotional and physical reactions. Effective stress management techniques include relaxation, mindfulness, time management, and seeking social support. To dive deeper into these strategies, we're going to watch a short video titled Coping with Stress. As you watch, think about the coping methods we discussed last week for anxiety and how they may overlap with managing stress. Afterwards, we'll talk about how these strategies can be applied to everyday life.
Stress. Everyone experiences it both at work and in their personal lives. It's often caused by changes in the world around us that we can't control. But what we can control is how we cope with and react to stress. Let's take a look at some strategies for dealing with it. Make time for hobbies and self-care. When we're stressed, we have a tendency to focus on the things that are stressing us out, and we lose sight of taking care of ourselves. It's important to find some time in your schedule to relax or do what you enjoy. This can give you a renewed sense of energy and well-being. Use time management skills. There may be times where projects and tasks just start to pile up and you feel trapped under it all. This could be due to procrastinating or taking on too much work. Try listing out your tasks and prioritizing them. This can make it easier to get through them, and who knows, you may even find some tasks that are unnecessary or that you can delegate to others. Exercise. Stress often makes us tired and increases our anxiety. Studies have shown that over time, exercise can help to reduce anxiety levels and make you feel more energetic. Find an activity that you enjoy, whether it's walking, swimming, or something else, and try fitting it into your schedule a few times a week. Remove unnecessary sources of stress. While you can't control the changes that happen to you, there may be certain stressors that you can eliminate. For example, you could try limiting your access to daily news, spending less time on social media, or reducing the number of new projects you take on. While stress is inevitable, it's important to remember that there are always ways of managing it and improving the quality of your life.
GCF Global, creating opportunities for a better life.
I want you to choose one coping strategy that stood out to you in this video and try adding it to your routine. Start small, whether it's deep breathing or taking short breaks. Gradually incorporating these strategies can make a big difference over time. Be patient with yourself as you take it one step at a time. That's a wrap for week 4. I hope you found today's session helpful in understanding stress and ways to manage it. Next week, we'll dive into the basics of cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT, and discuss medication management. Thank you for joining, and I'll see you next week.